I've checked it out.
It being 9:30, call the meeting to order. Please rise to pledge allegiance and brief moment of silence. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Time to get to work.
Mr. Chair, if I may, a moment of privilege, please.
Of course. There we go.
Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to, before we get started here, I wanted to mention something that I just learned a few minutes ago this morning, and that is that one of our rather regular attenders at Board of Commissioners meetings, Richard Kuznitsky, has passed away. And so that was very sad news for me. I liked Richard very much. We had mutual respect, even though we disagreed politically. We established a respectful friendship on the heels of some misunderstanding, and it was a very rewarding thing, and I always enjoyed hearing Richard's comments from the podium. So Richard will be greatly missed, and I just felt it would be appropriate to mention him today. So thank you for that.
Of course,
Thank you,
Richard.
Mr. Chair.
Richard was a good man, very participatory in our community. Agree or disagree with him, it would be hard to contest that he was an active member of the community and a benefit. So that puts us at a public hearing on the annexation of a certain territory into the Fairview Rural Fire Protection District.
Sorry, Drew, do you want to make an announcement that just GoToMeeting's not working?
Oh, yeah, sorry. GoToMeeting, our usual online aspect, is down. The company that runs it decided the middle of a business day would be a good time for an update. So, unfortunately, the online aspect is not going to be functioning today. And that brings us to the public hearing. Where do we start on that one? Do we do the presentation, or do we want to?
You can start with council. Yeah, this is a agenda item that I put on for today with proper notice under ORS Chapter 198. Everyone hear me all right? Okay. Yeah, so this proceedings being conducted pursuant to ORS Chapter 198 in response to a resolution adopted by the Fairview Rural Fire Protection District. The proposed annexation would provide rural fire protection services to the territory proposed to be annexed. And in deciding whether to approve the resolution, the county Board of Commissioners needs to consider the local comprehensive plan for the area and any service agreement executed between the local government and the affected district. With the board's approval, this type of annexation will be submitted to voters in the affected areas in an upcoming election. So Jill Rolfe, our planning director and director of Coos County Community Development, she prepared a report looking at the impact on the local comprehensive plan. She's not here today, but we do have Amy Dibble with planning who could talk about the specific area that's being annexed. But in terms of the impact on the local comprehensive plan, Jill put together a report, and she's found that it aligns with the Coos County Comprehensive Plan and zoning ordinances regarding fire protection. She said additionally, Coos County and Fairview RFPD coordinate under ORS Chapter 195.020, which ensures that annexations and service provisions are consistent with land use policies. She also noted that The district has conferred already with Oregon Department of Forestry and Coos Forestry Protective Association. That's a requirement under ORS Chapter 478. And neither of those agencies is opposed to this proposed annexation. We also have preliminary approval from Department of Revenue of the annexation map and legal description. So there's no issue with the quality of the legal description for the proposed area. So
Good.
Staff's recommendation is to approve the boundary unless there's some other issue. And maybe now's a chance to bring up Amy. Can you provide the board with a better idea of where this this area is?
I'll try. Actually, I'll give this map to you guys to share. There's a legend on it that shows the current and then the proposed annexation area. So,
That's quite an expansion. Okay,
yeah.
I can tell you there's been a history with this annexation area, and maybe Jane Seventh, you could speak to the efforts to annex this portion of Fairview. It's been, yeah.
So,
Oh, I'm sorry. Could you introduce yourself, please?
yes, I'm Jane Stebbins. I am local counsel for the Fairview Fire District. And when they brought me on, they had in fact already started working on this themselves, trying to follow Statute 198, which is really a very confusing statute. But they hired me in 2021. So our office was still kind of recovering from 2020. And the district actually already had signatures. They had the requisite amount of signatures to go the signature route, which is one of the ways you can get this kind of thing moving to expand your district. You can get signatures from, I forget the percentage, but a percentage of your landowners, and do that instead of, or maybe before going to election, and it's hard to tell because of the way the statute's written. But you have to move to do that within a very short period of time from the time that you get your last signature or your first signature, and then get it moving through the county. And we were not able to do that, I think because it was like right when Nate was getting ready to leave.
Or Nat Greenhalgh Johnson.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
first one, he was still there, and I think we eventually got rejected. And then, because of the map. And we sent it in multiple times, and each time came back with an additional requirement, some of which, as I understand it, are because several requirements have been tightened up in terms of what different agencies need. And some of it just because the statute is tough to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Mr. Totland finally got here, and I ambushed him immediately. And we started talking about it, and we've finally been able to get all the approvals from the different agencies, get our maps, get everything together. But there have been 3 attorneys on you guys' side who've had to look at it, and the district has just been sticking with it and sticking with it and sticking with it, which I think is pretty neat of them.
Yeah.
Frankly, but that is the history.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I think there was a chance, or there was initially an attempt to make this annexation happen through a petition process, and you gathered signatures of the people in the affected area, and you had no issue getting the signatures.
Correct.
But
In fact,
procedurally, there was an issue with the petition process, and so
Right.
you guys opted instead to annex by way of a resolution,
Correct.
which you guys adopted just recently, and so that's what's brought us here today. So I don't think there's much controversy among the people in the affected area to,
There doesn't seem to be. I don't.
We even have one couple came in to watch the process.
Excellent.
yeah.
okay, very good.
Gathered a lot of signatures.
Well, Mr. Chair, I'd like to, at this time, make a motion to approve the Fairview RFPD resolution and direct staff to prepare an order approving the resolution to schedule a final hearing to consider the ballot title so that people of the area can vote on this matter.
Yep, all second. Do I need to open it for public hearing?
Yes, given that this is a hearing, we do have to provide that opportunity.
Okay.
So
I'll
unless
open
there's
it
additional,
for public hearing, public testimony. Does anybody wish to provide input
Thank you,
on
guys.
this matter? And thank you. Sorry. Yes. James. I'm remembering.
Jim Bennett, Bandon.
I was close.
You know how sick I am of bringing up the same thing at almost every meeting and being marginalized for it? And even though few people in the room are going to understand what I'm making reference to, it's important to get it entered into the record. And it might be a little bit ancillary to this subject, but it has to do with fire management, okay? Did you know that all of these horrific fires that have been in the news, if I search it within 2 minutes, I can find a consensus report in an attempt to legitimize these acts of war against the people? Every single one. And if you don't believe me, call me to task and I'll email it to you. The Maui one, the one in California, all of them.
Okay.
And although I'm glad it's wintertime and we're not going to have any fires here right now, and I believe that with our new administration, efforts have been made to neuter the alphabet mafia and this avalanche of NGOs that have been given statutory powers to make heavy, heavy changes of our life. And they've been.
Jim, this may be better for public comment. I
Oh
think
no,
it's
I'm not
a
gonna.
little-
I'm not gonna stay that long today.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so funding all of these NGOs and having them driving our bus, those days are over. And I just want you to know that these wildfires, air quotes, mostly all are legitimate acts of war against the people. And if you want me to come up with the goods and email it, the consensus report, I'm glad to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any additional statements? Hearing none, I'll close the hearing and call for the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And motion passes unanimous.
Very good. And as a follow-up, if I may, Mr. Chair.
Of course.
To further explain my vote, the expansion of the Fairview Fire District doesn't have anything to do with any consensus report or anything like that. It's merely expanding the area for which the fire district, which was voted for by the people there, and this expansion will be as well, is compensated to provide fire coverage for this expanding residential footprint. It has nothing.
I'm just speaking to
Yeah.
wildfires
Okay.
in general.
Right. So only tangentially connected, these two issues, but, okay,
Wildfires.
very good. Yes, thank you.
And this adds a little more local control and local determination as we fight fires, because I think we've identified that we don't get a lot of support when that happens necessarily here. We're not as much a priority. So this is beneficial in that regard. So having gone through that item, that'll take us to 4A, request for approval to purchase a all-wheel drive SUV vehicle from Coos Health and Wellness. And Mike?
Morning, Mr. Rowley. Toward you.
Seems like it's on. Good morning, Mike Rowley, Director of Coos Health and Wellness. So, yes, we have signed the agreement to take over the on-site from DEQ for wastewater management site review, and we need a vehicle, all-wheel drive. We're looking for new or used. It does seem like vehicles could be potentially a problem to find at this point, so.
Okay.
Right, Mr. Chair, move to approve spending authority for Department Head Mike Rowley in an amount not to exceed $40,000 to purchase one new or used all-wheel drive SUV vehicle, subject to prior approval by County Council.
Second, comments open to the board.
I wonder if we couldn't get the state to turn over the vehicle that Greg was
We
using.
already asked. That's not a deal that they will do.
What the heck?
I know.
Worth a try.
Yeah, we asked
Okay,
for
well, I
tools as
appreciate-
well. We didn't get those either.
What the heck?
Yeah.
So as far as tools, that raises a good point. Are you guys, what tools are needed exactly? Do you know?
I'm not 100% sure. I think we have a list.
Okay.
I could send it to you if that would help.
Yeah, I do,
Okay.
because if there's anything that we can help with privately off county, we'll help out with that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And I'd say, just towards the effect of this, would have been probably a week into being in the seat. I had somebody call me whose house had burnt down. They were going to need to have their sewage redone, and input they got from contractors and from the state was that they couldn't reinstall what they had just had. They were going to have to do a $40,000 system on top of figuring out everything now that their house burnt down.
Wow.
Which we may not be able to do a great deal about, but at least this brings that back into the backyard of people that actually live here to look at the situations and see where we can find solutions. That's how I view this program. So I will call for a question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimous. Thank you, Mike. And we have more coming up from you. So item 4B, request approval of job description for mental health specialist 2, lead, case, CHW.
Yeah, so the manager of this program is retiring in June or July, and we would like to have someone in a lead position so that we can help train and see if they would transition well into the management position. So it's kind of a succession planning, and they would be in this position maybe 3 to 4 months, depending if the first person, the manager, leaves in June or July.
Mr. Chair, move to approve mental health specialist 2 lead job description under pay grade 454 and approve posting and filling the position.
Second, discussion on the board.
Sir?
No discussion here. Discussion in the public. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimous. Let's see, one more for you. Item 4C, request approval to revise pay grade for mental health associate 2, lead.
Yeah, so actually, I think we were here a month or so ago to get this approved, and we realized that we put it under the incorrect pay grade, so we'd like to move it from 451 to 452.
And for clarification for the discussion, I see it's adult outpatient treatment. Is that one of the more intensive services?
Yes, and this is a QMHA position, so this is not our therapist, so it's a lead for our peer support and case managers.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, move to approve mental health associate 2 lead position under pay grade 452.
Second, discussion amongst board. All right. I'll just note for the public, these more intensive cases, we have around 250 of them in the county for the mental health side. So when we have shortages here, it reduces our ability to manage mental health within the community, thus contributing to homelessness and these other aspects. So call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion passes unanimous.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Have a great day.
We have 4D, request award of contract for 5 Mile Bar project, land agent.
Morning.
Morning, Cole.
The project we discussed last week that's been funded by the STEP program, we put it out for bid, and Merchant Reed Gravel Co. out of Powers was the low bidder at $25,210. Just like to get that approved.
Mr. Chair, move to approve awarding a contract to Merchant and Reed Gravel Company in the amount of $25,210.
Second, comments amongst the board.
Nope.
All right. None here. Any in the public? Seeing none, call for the question.
Aye.
All right. Motion passes unanimous. Thank you, Cole.
Thank you.
4E, request approval to purchase asphalt spreader And that'll be roads. How we doing, Storm?
Morning.
Morning, Paul.
I'm just getting names mixed up still.
So we got 3 quotes from local welder fabricator shops. The low quoter or bidder was Industrial Steel and Supply Company in Coos Bay. So we're just requesting approval to have them make this addition for us. For, I guess, in case there's questions, this is a spreader that would be attached to the front of the front end loader. Goes on the front in place of the bucket, and then we're able to do what we call grind and patch. You go out and grind narrow sections, usually wheel paths, and then we can patch those with this device. Over the last 2 years, we've rented ODOTs, so we just want to purchase our own and be able to do it ourselves and save a few bucks.
Okay.
Very good. Mr. Chair, move to approve request to purchase an asphalt spreader from Industrial Steel and Supply for $25,460.15.
Second, discussion amongst the board.
Be great to see your improved efficiency from this. It's always an experience to see fresh road patches go through their first winter and go, that didn't last very long. But those strip patches, they're much more durable.
Yeah, we can get rid of the worst of the worst.
Yes.
And, we just, given our budget situation, we need to be as lean and mean as we can, and this is just one way to get leaner.
Wouldn't it be great if we could afford to just overlay where we need to?
That would be great, but we need a lot more money for that.
Yeah, we do.
Just a side note, just to purchase the asphalt, to do a 2-inch overlay over a 2-lane paved road, it's about $126,000. That's just buying the asphalt.
A mile.
No labor, no equipment.
A mile, right,
1
yeah.
mile. Yep.
Yep. Okay.
All righty. Comments in the public? I lost track.
Yeah, that's where we were.
Okay. And seeing none, call for the question.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimous. Thank you, thank you. Another one for you. 4F, request approval to dispose of surplus property.
Yes. So we have 8 items here, some of which are as old as 1963. Most of this is pretty old stuff that's met its life. Actually, some of it met its life a long time ago. We're just getting around to getting rid of it. The item number 2, the dump truck, we're not actually gonna, assuming the board approves it, we're not gonna actually get rid of that on surplus until we get our new dump truck, which we're still waiting for. We expect that soon. And then the item number 3, the Cat Backhoe 420D. There's, just this morning, I was approached by Forestry, County Forestry, about potentially wanting that. So I think we can still have the board approve it for surplus. It
Yeah.
might just get sold or transferred to Forestry instead of through public service.
That's correct.
The rest of that, though, would be, it's old stuff that's pretty used.
Okay, Mr. Chair, move to approve disposing of the provided list of surplus property.
Second? All right. Discussion amongst the board.
Just for public knowledge, these surplus items, unless they're transferred to another county department or some other board-approved transfer, they go on the site, they go up for auction on the site called Public Surplus. And all of the public, anyone is permitted to bid on them. You just have to set up an account on Public Surplus. And I've purchased a number of really great things on Public Surplus over the years, been using it for 20 years, and it's a great site. But anyway, those are great opportunities to pick up equipment if you are able.
Neat site. Discussion amongst the public. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimous. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Next one, 4G, request approval to transfer expenditure appropriations for cent.
Sheriff.
Sheriff.
Good morning, gentlemen. Just that. So this is out of grant. Sorry, it's so close for this thing. This is out of the grant funds for the legal marijuana market enforcement or enforcement grant. And it's just the last vehicle that was authorized through there. We just need to transfer $7,000 over from the grant into appropriations for the spending authority.
Mr. Chair, move to approve transfer of appropriations per Resolution 2502020B.
Second, discussion on the board.
Sir?
Discussion in the public. Seeing none, call for a question.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimous. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, gentlemen. Feels weird, that's all I got.
It's a light day for you.
How about that?
Let's see, 4H, request, say again?
This is the one we're gonna move to the worker meeting, because Megan is out.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Out sick.
Do that. Moving to 4I, request approval of revised job descriptions, title change, reclassifications. Council.
Yeah, this is a request that the Board of Commissioners approve revised and updated job descriptions for the Office of Legal Counsel and Human Resources. These updates reflect restructuring in the offices due to the budget cut of the Risk and Safety Manager position. The duties of that position have been redistributed between Office of Legal Counsel and Human Resources. We're also requesting that the Board of Commissioners approve reclassification of the Legal Office Manager position to Legal Operations Manager / Safety Program Coordinator under pay grade 784, and the HR Office Assistant position under pay grade 416. And I'll note that the ASPE union has been notified about the change to the office assistant position. Legal office manager is a non-bargaining position.
Very good. Mr. Chair, move to approve revised job descriptions for Office of Legal Counsel and Human Resources positions and approve reclassification and title change for Legal Office Manager position at Step 5 and reclassification for Human Resources Office Assistant position to pay grade 416, Step 4, effective February 1st, 2025.
Second, discussion amongst board.
No, sir?
Appreciate y'all adapting to the cuts. Discussion in the public. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimous. Thank you, Colton. Taking us to the consent calendar. Anything you'd like to
We
pull
have
out?
I have a late agenda item here, Mr.
Oh,
Chair.
okay.
Yeah, there's
What do
one
we
other
got?
late, one
this-
line.
Oh,
So, you want me to read it off?
yes, please.
This is item 6A, approval of 2024 to 2027 collective bargaining agreement with Oregon Nurses Association. Counselor?
Yes, this is a long-awaited approval of extension of the collective bargaining agreement with Oregon Nurses Association. The contract expired on June 30th. Negotiations wrapped up, frankly, around that time. We've just had an issue getting the final document signed by the required party. So this is approval of a bargaining agreement for the period of 2024 through 2027. It's retroactive to July 1st.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve and sign the collective bargaining agreement between Coos County and Oregon Nurses Association, retroactive to July 1st, 2024.
Second, discussion on the board.
I have a great disdain for public employee unions. I don't believe they should exist, and that raises the ire of the county employees when I say it, but it's still true, and it's also true that I'm concerned about the well-being and greatly appreciative of the work that county employees provide for the benefit of the residents of Coos County. That having been said, it's been a long-standing belief of mine that at the city, county, state, and federal level, that public employee unions should not exist. That having been said, there is a bigger transformative change needed to correct this nationwide wrong than our vote here. My interest here today is to make sure that lose the that we don't lose any aspect of the health care that we are statutorily mandated to provide to keep the jail operating. I don't want to put the sheriff in that position. I don't want to put our public in that position. We already suffer enough challenges trying to incarcerate people who are intent on impinging the rights of others. So, despite my disdain for public employee unions, I do intend to vote yes on this late agenda item, and those are my reasons why.
No, for my purposes, from a different direction, I'm a strong believer in competition. Regardless of who an individual's employer should be, they should be able to compete for higher pay if that's their choice. They can do it easier as a large body, and that's the embodiment of a union. So, towards the effect of supporting competition when one wants to compete for higher pay, I do tend to support unions. So, did the discussion, call for the question. Public comments? All righty. Call for the question.
Aye.
Aye. And motion passes unanimous, and now we're at
Mr. Chair, move to approve the consent calendar.
All right. Second, discussion amongst the board.
No, sir.
Discussion in the public. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimous. That'll take us to late agenda items. We already did that. And commissioner reports.
Well, the winning continues. So I continue to anticipate seeing benefits to smaller governments at the city and particularly of interest the county level with the discovery of more and more waste, abuse, and fraud that has occurred at the federal level. And so remains to be seen how that's going to play out, but I anticipate great things. Had a fairly busy meeting week or a couple of meeting weeks since our last BOC meeting. Numerous interfaces regarding the Veterans Steering Committee, the Association of Oregon Counties Legislative Committee meeting, the county retro insurance plans, another Veterans Assistance Network meeting, and then we've got ongoing discussions with Curry County in our pursuit of collaborative resolution of this federal infringement upon county resources vis-a-vis the mismanagement of federal lands. And so I've spoken before of this strategy that we're working together on. It's a legal strategy that is not a guarantee, but it has been exercised or executed successfully in other counties, specifically in Apache County, Arizona, along with some others, where the county was able to actually take back management of federal lands within the county. And so that is a goal that I have in mind, continue to collaborate with the commissioners in Curry, and we're hoping to bring other counties on board with this as well and make it more of a block. It'll be kind of like a union, Commissioner. That should make you happy. Anyway, so I'm very hopeful for that, and so that's about all I have.
Cool. Yeah, I've been watching Curry as well. I'm curious to see where they pan out. It sounds like they've already passed a few of their resolutions, didn't they?
Yeah, they've tabled for some further refinement. They
Okay.
didn't actually pass them. They had two emergency declarations, one pertaining to the fire map issue, the other pertaining to the federal lands issue. They had them kind of combined, and now they're going to separate, do some further refinement based on some of the discussion that was in the work session they had last week.
Okay. Well, that'll be cool to watch.
And then I anticipate seeing some components of their resolutions on our own dais.
I would
And
imagine.
at a time not too distant in the future.
Okay. And folks wonder why we have conversations like this up here. We're not allowed to outside of public meetings. So sometimes you'll just hear us talk back and forth because this is the place we're allowed to do it. Some of what I've been working on, attended the AMVETS meeting recently. They're looking for more vets, particularly younger vets that might want to get involved in the veteran community in our area. They are one of the few, if not the only, federally recognized and supported groups towards veteran ends, so they're a good asset. Related to something I've been watching, the Foreign Terrorist Organization designation, I still haven't seen those come out yet. The executive order, of course, said it's an option, but when we watch the Department of the State, no cartels have been designated yet. And at the point that happens, that'll allow for greater collaboration with the FBI, who have operated in our area before. They're very supportive. They put themselves at risk, so looking forward to that opportunity from them, but still waiting on the feds. For folks that were concerned around illegal immigrants that end up in our jails, something you may want to watch for, thank you, is House Bill 3551. It is specifically geared towards violent offenders who have ended up in the jails. The objective is to be able to collaborate with all federal agencies when a violent offender has ended up in the jail. So that's a more, it's a targeted approach to get the biggest problems out. I've been talking with folks with the Elliott Forest at the state level for a while. I talked with them the week before last. I thought they were sending one representative. They sent 5 to talk to me last week. And I expressed to them, they were talking to me about the benefits of research and the timber cuts they're going to do, which I told them those are fine things. We're not necessarily that far along in the hierarchy of needs because research doesn't contribute to the general fund, and their board cut feet, they indicated, would not contribute to our general fund because of how that's negotiated. And those are the kind of funding we need so that we don't have to come to you and ask for an increase in your taxes. The state can't be allowed to have free rides. So pertaining to their carbon credits, I talked to them about how they're going to disseminate that funding to us, or a portion of that funding to us. I talked to them about how their additional timber cuts don't actually increase the tax base here. It could help our mills, but it doesn't expand the mills, which doesn't increase the tax base. It's very good for all the citizens, of course, and we want that, but they also have to pay their way. The state does. Mental health advocacy, folks might have seen during the point in time count, we had 11 individuals that were listed as homeless in the jail out of 46. But of those 11, 10 were on mental health meds. And of the 46 people in the jail, 28 were on mental health meds. So if the state were appropriately addressing mental health, we could drastically increase the capacity of our jail by getting people out of the jail who belong in medical care. State has ignored this in the past. I've been harping on it for at least 6 years. They haven't made good progress. We've had some bills proposed. They ignore them. So advocacy this time is going to come in the form of some news articles with pictures of the people who have suffered the consequences. We have had people die in our community because of this. So they're going to, our first responders will never forget seeing it. So now our legislators are never going to forget seeing it because I'm going to send them the pictures with the articles. And National Guard, waiting to hear from them still. They're going to be returning to their facility in Coos Bay. And that covers what I want to cover here without taking too much time. we'll open up for public comment. We have public comment. Oh, I do have public comment. Ray Cox. You, Ray? Okay. And at the podium, name and location.
I'm Ray Cox from Giddings Boat Works in Charleston. And I brought some papers here for you guys.
I've seen them already.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's bad.
Thank
It's a
you, Ray.
7-inch hole.
Yeah, 7 inch, that's just that one.
Yeah.
There's several. It's from Linnell. Linnell sent them on the computer too. I don't know who.
Yeah, I saw that
I
yesterday.
got a copy of this.
Thank you.
You got a copy of that?
I believe so.
I'm not a politician. That's
No,
from me.
I didn't get this.
I'm not a politician. I don't want to be a politician. I don't even want to be here. I have a business to run. But it's getting so bad, and in that letter you'll see I have vendors that come through there, lots of them. That's just, the list I have there is just a fraction of them. They don't want to even come down there no more. It's so bad. Some of my employees have to park in England Marine's parking lot and walk, or a lot of them are driving through England Marine's parking lot, or the oyster, right beside it, there's an oyster, and they drive through that, and that's getting potholes. And it's getting pretty bad. And I've been here for about 24 years. That road's been like that for 24 years, but not that bad. We've been trying to patch it, sand, gravel, asphalt, you name it, oyster shells, it just gets washed away. Asphalt, concrete busts out. It's seriously affecting my business and all the other businesses. Tar Heel Aluminum, Edge Marine, Giddings Boat Works, Qualman Oysters, North Bend Oysters, Herbal Choices. Choice is on that road, all of them. And there's some residences back there too. And we're all getting pretty upset. I got a big backing behind me. I'm the only one in Qualman Oyster here. They're going to comment. That's here, but I've got a lot of people who will be here if I need them to be here. It's been said that it's not the county road, belongs to the port. It's not the ports. I found that out. It's a local, whatever they called it, a local access road. There's so much tax-based revenue going through that road that it's enormous, because all the fishermen, that's a business. They're all businesses, and they're from Alaska to California. We work on these boats. It's detrimental to Charleston. Almost everybody that lives in Charleston or in the marina uses that road. We could put a traffic counter if you want to.
Yep.
It's enormous. I don't really have a fight in this anymore. I'm trying to retire. I was supposed to retire in January, and a lot of BS happened, and he knows about it. I don't know about anybody else.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, it's all BS. And anyway, so
I apologize. I didn't. Usually these are 3. I extend to 5 minutes. I'll give you a little extra time to wrap up because I forgot to tell you.
okay, well, so it's like I'm going to be out of there one way or the other. This road is not helping. I'm about ready to just pull a trigger and auction it off. We're not getting any support. Charleston is a forgotten city, it seemed like. I don't get it. But we don't get nothing out there. And we need some help. So with that, I guess I'll turn it over to them.
Appreciate it. Oh, I'm sorry. I've got a list.
Oh.
My bad. That one's crossed out. Gavin Augustine?
Augustine.
Augustine,
Yeah, hi.
thank you.
Yeah, I'm from Qualman Oyster Farms.
Okay.
And we're also on Trawler Lane. Sorry, I'm not super prepared for this. I found out about the meeting yesterday.
fine, man.
Not much of a public speaker.
Don't worry.
But the road is becoming an absolute nuisance. I have many customers that come down there, wholesale and retail. Almost all of them complain about the road, making comments like, "Oh, I didn't know I was going to need 4-wheel drive to get to your business." I drive 3/4-ton trucks. I'm a farmer. I haul stuff. I'm constantly in rough areas, and my trucks have a hard time getting through that road. I hit one of those potholes that are in the pictures he showed you, and it completely stopped my truck the other day. It's getting worse and worse. I've only been here for about 2 years, and just in the time I've been here, it's gotten worse. We've tried to patch it ourselves with our oyster shells. They wash out. Like he said, concrete, you name it. I'm one of many businesses, and I'm probably the smallest. But there's, like he said, lots of tax revenue that comes in through there. And I would just like to see something done. We've pushed for multiple people to do it. The port, the county, everyone kind of tries to dodge liability or basically tries to push it off on someone else and say it's not our road, they need to fix it. So we keep trying new people and new avenues of getting it fixed, and it keeps getting diverted. And so we'd just like to see something get done about it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Has anyone ever given you an estimate of how much it would cost to fix it?
He has one, yes.
Appreciate it. I'll grab it from you. Next, I had Darren Augustine.
I'm Darren Augustine. That's my son who has Qualman Oyster. I walked out there. I believe you received an email from Linnell Comstock.
Yeah.
And hopefully pictures as well. If
Well,
not-
yeah, Ray gave us some pictures.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I had actually been out and seen it several weeks ago.
Right. So I've been looking at this problem for the last several years as it got worse and addressed the road. I actually surveyed the road. This problem probably originated or got worse. Let's say it didn't originate, but it got worse when England got their permits. They put in all their drainage, and a good deal of that drainage goes towards the road, being a downward slant towards the water. There is a drain there, but when the road was put in, it's either sunk or wasn't graded properly to begin with. And the water would have gone there anyway, but having a parking lot and a large shedding roof, it probably didn't absorb in as well.
Was
Yes.
that drain right at where Abbey Lane intersects Troller?
No. The drain is just to the south of the dispensary and north of the west entry into England's parking lot. And the pictures I took, which Linnell has, show that drain. When I looked at that drain, so what's happening with a road, we can put a brand new road in, but if we put the same road with the same grade, it'll have the same problem. The problem is that once water doesn't leave to a proper drain, it finds a way under the road. Once it finds a way under the road, it weakens the substrate, so all the gravel, all the patch doesn't work because and once you create a hole, then it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. In the last 2 weeks, some of the holes have doubled in size because it's been neglected for so long. So it's really a matter of tearing out that section completely and regrading it so that and clearing that drain completely, which is currently hasn't been maintained in so long it's probably plugged. If we can get the water, reshape that section of road so that all the water goes to that drain, we won't have any further problems, as long as we do it prior to shaping the road. Also, there's a crest put on a road so that the water can exit the road properly on the sides, because not all water is going to go to that drain, but the majority of where it's funneling will. The rest of the road with a crest then can go into areas moving more towards the water. So I'm not sure what his estimate was. I didn't get a chance to look at it, but it's imperative that we address the actual direction of flow to the drain. Once we do that, we won't have to be patching and fixing all the time. Do it right once and it'll last for years
Needs a capital rebuild.
with some minor maintenance, but it really needs to be addressed so that the water gets to that drain. I think everybody basically covered everything else as far as the amount of tax revenue and resources. And the further I wanted to state that obviously there's a growth project in the turning basin that's occurring, and all of that hinges on people like him that repair these boats, modify these boats, build these boats, and so it's a major part of the entire community. And I see nothing but positive growth in our area, but this is one of those little links that's very important, and the chain is only as strong as the weakest link.
All right. Thank you very much.
In that estimate, I think it's done and done right.
Okay.
It has drainage on
Yeah, I see the price tag. I'm figuring it's done
there. It's
correctly.
done and done right.
$185,300.
So, but we have another copy of that.
Okay, appreciate.
If I may,
yes.
If I may interject something, just a point of clarification. I've heard a couple of you guys mention the significant tax base that's supported through this road, and while I acknowledge that there is quite a bit of commerce, a lot of trade dollars happening across there, and I'm not arguing that the road doesn't need to be fixed, but I do want to clarify that it's a common misunderstanding or a misperception that business activity really directly impacts the tax base for the county. It doesn't. Because the fact of the matter is that the county receives property tax revenues. A very small portion of the property taxes that we pay actually comes to the county to support our general fund.
How about like gas taxes and things of that nature, and income tax based on sales?
So there is no tax based on any sales, other than the 1% that the state crammed down our throats several years ago. But the county doesn't see anything from that.
Nothing from income tax?
I don't
No?
believe so.
There is no. The county receives zero income tax revenues, zero revenues that are derived from profits of any kind. The only revenues that the county receives in the form of taxes are property taxes, and the only portion of that we actually utilize at the county is equates to $7 million a year. It's on your property tax bill. The permanent rate is $1.08 per $1,000 of assessed value. That's what the county gets.
Is there any in fuel tax?
So let me,
Okay.
every other dollar on your property tax bill goes to fire districts, school districts, hospital, every other special taxing district. There's 74 of them in the county, I think 74, 75. And that's where all that money goes. So as to fuel tax, it is true that the county receives monies from fuel taxes. That's accurate. I don't remember exactly how that works, but I know that Paul does, and I was gonna call on him in a few minutes anyway to speak to this road issue. But it is absolutely a misunderstanding that business derives a direct benefit to county revenues. It just doesn't happen.
A lot of the money, though, like you said, property tax is a major source, but a lot of the property taxes are not just derived from Trawler Lane. There are the suppliers that also have properties in Coos County.
Yeah.
And so that's another aspect. I also wanted to mention two other things. One is that there is a public dock there also that is used quite often. I mean, on a very regular basis, a very large dock. It's a very nice asset for our community also. And the other thing I wanted to mention that I've volunteered to do some of the tear out and work on my own with my own money. If we can cut into some of that 185 perhaps, that I can do some of the work prior to, as long as they tell me what the parameters are, what needs to be done, and that may take the numbers down a bit. So I'm not a politician either. I don't wish to be one, but I am a business person, an entrepreneur, a farmer, and I often tell my wife I'm a firefighter because every morning I get up and I have to put out the fires, whatever comes up. I'm a problem solver. I'm not trying to come here to complain. I'm trying here to solve this problem, and I'm willing to do whatever I can do to help. But to me, it's a black eye on Charleston to have a road like that. It's just embarrassing. We have people that come and spend a lot of money in Charleston and in Coos County every year. They've come. Some people come back 30 years of camping every summer for months, and they come to buy our oysters. And it's right next to a beautiful building that England Marine built, and then you see this road and it's like, what are we, a third world country? I just came back from Mexico and I didn't hit any potholes that big. Okay. So if that's an indicator, I don't want to look like Mexico. I love Mexico. Don't want to look like that. We're better than that.
And I can tell you we're getting a shift in folks paying attention to Charleston. I've had outreach from Boomer Wright talking about Charleston, specifically in his case, the problem trailer park y'all got out there.
Yeah.
I can tell you our codes reaches out to that guy every time there's a police call. I've reached out to the guy, talking to him and trying to give him a little fear of God. Port Coos Bay is looking at how they can be a better partner out there. Obviously, with your boat works out there, I used to operate the business that runs the Charleston Drawbridge. Mm-hmm. So we're familiar with ships coming in very bad condition that need to get to your boat works in a big hurry. So it goes beyond that level of economic development, which your structures are high property values.
I mean,
to just outright life safety.
It amazes people when we tell them the history of Charleston, that
yeah.
the Aleutian Ballad was in there the other day, last year or the year before, pulled in to dry dock to be retrofitted. The Time Bandit was built there. That's a global recognized.
Well, and one of our federal senators too, I've directed his attention towards the shoaling you've got out there, mm-hmm. which is a much higher cost project.
Right.
So I can talk with them as well and see about where some of these legislators can dovetail in money to look at this road beyond what we can look at for that road.
Yeah.
Charleston's not going to be forgotten anymore.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Yes, sir.
Along with him,
He's got to come up.
Oh, you got to come up to the mic. I'm sorry, so that the recording can catch you.
So I'm with him too. I mean, I've got loaders and bobcats and backhoes, and I can help too. I mean, I'm not against that. We just need some help.
Yeah.
We're ready to help.
Okay.
But I can't afford to fix all that. Matter of fact, I'm hoping to leave. I'm trying to retire. Another note is, like you were talking about taxes. I understand, Rod, what you're coming from. Everybody, like for me, I get $1 million job. They think, oh man, he's getting rich. It ain't like that.
No,
I work on probably a 15 to 20% margin, profit margin. That's what I work on. But people think, oh, that $1 million or $2 million, whatever, oh, he's getting rich. It's not that way.
No.
And so I understand what you're saying too. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so we're ready to help. Whatever it takes. We need it done. It is embarrassing.
Yeah.
I agree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we got everything on that one. Colton, you look like you were going to say something.
There's a couple options that are available here. I mean, there's bringing it into the county road system. It's sort of like the most extreme way to address the issue. There's one-time projects or special projects that can be carried out on a local access road with board approval. It's be a smaller measure, and then there is often road districts that are formed for specific roads that the people who are using the road can through that district improve it so that they can use it. That would seem like a real possibility here as well.
While that does seem like that could be a good long-term approach to the maintenance of the road, it seems like the the situation is more emergent than would be indicated by that kind of a lengthy process. Mr. Chair, I think it would be instructive to have Mr. Slater kind of address the status of the road and kind of
Sounds
from his
good.
perspective.
Yep. Mr. Slater. The master of roads.
So over the last probably 6 months to a year, I've been contacted by a number of folks that use and rely on Trawler Road. Individual business owners, as well as I think I even had one of the citizens who lives out there and one of the residences contact me. I've talked to Linnell Comstock with the Port of Coos Bay quite a bit lately. We've had 2 or 3, 4 conversations. She sent an email to the board, I believe.
Yesterday.
Just recently in the last day or two. First one was a request. The second email, I think, had some pictures, which were probably pictures that I know Ray just handed me some pictures, and they look like the same ones. The first section of that road is in really terrible shape. It does appear that people have used things like sand and shells to try to fill potholes, which, from our experience, doesn't really work well. The potholes are very large in diameter, and they're rather deep. One of the folks I talked to some time ago asked me, what it would cost to get the road paved. And I suggested to them to reach out to one or more of the local contractors that do that kind of work, and get a quote from them. I've been trying to, talk the port into, playing a more active role there with doing more maintenance on that road. They do own a large portion of property back there that a number of these business owners use or lease from them. As of that email yesterday was a little bit of a surprise to me, but not totally. So I'm not sure, where we go from here. Colton's kind of laid out the options as far as a local access road and how work could be done out there. I do think a road district is probably the best long-term solution. But as far as short-term, some minor work could be done out there to make it a whole lot better. I wasn't aware of the drain that was mentioned, as this isn't a county road, so we don't really go out there and do much. So there's no question that water is our number one enemy, is related to roads in our county. So if that drain could be opened and repaired, that would be definitely number one. And then, some road work after that. But, you'd have to wait for probably some drier weather, preferably. Otherwise, the water would have to be dealt with some other way, which it could be done. We could try to use large fans to blow the water out of the holes to get it to go to the drain, and then do some road shaping and put some rock down. But, those are all things that are out of our normal scope of work since it's a local access road. So
Right.
the board would have to direct us to do that. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say we already struggle to keep up with the roads we've got. So, adding more would just be that much more taxing on the rest of the road system. So.
Understood. That having been understood, though, it is a pretty desperate situation out there. And it needs to get resolved one way or another. I would prefer, and I would think that the Port of Coos Bay, as a state-appointed board, and as an entity that owns a lot of the property that's leased down the extent of Trawler Road, they should have a significant interest in maintaining the road. I'm not saying that the county couldn't have some role in it. Obviously, county finances are desperate, and a commitment to that kind of a project would be very costly to our current situation. But I still think it would be appropriate for us to look at addressing some kind of an emergency declaration or a resolution to justify our our participation in that project. So we have a couple of local businesses willing to participate. I understand that the Port of Coos Bay is so far unwilling, which I think is unreasonable, but I intend to address them about that and see if we can't put together some kind of a collaborative approach to get this thing resolved in short order. Mr. Chair, you got to...
May I offer a temporary solution?
Yeah.
And very important to understand it would be temporary. But I'd rather do this than simply patch, because if we patch, it's throwing money down a hole. It won't do anything because the water and the grade of the road is inappropriate for the, it doesn't, if you patched and made a perfect road, it still would erode because it doesn't make the to the drain. It wasn't shaped properly, or it sank, something happened. The reason,
to be clear, I was not suggesting a patch.
no, I understood that. But my idea would be, so the problem is that when you have a hole in the asphalt becomes your enemy, not your friend, because when you put gravel or anything in there, which there have been thousands of dollars of rock put in, but when you have something solid next to it, it continues to push it out, and it actually makes it worse. I would be willing to tear it out, the asphalt, and grade it properly. I'd rather have a gravel road at this point because I can maintain a gravel road. And if you could allot the funds for the gravel, I will tear out the road and I will grade the gravel. And that would be a temporary fix that would be useful for right now, so the water can get out, it can dry out, and when we hit a better season, hopefully with the political length of what this has to happen to get it done right, with the idea that we would do it right eventually, but we wouldn't be wasting our money because that gravel could be reused for substrate and shaping as well. So we're not just dumping it down a hole. So that might be a possible temporary solution. Also, I'd like to point out that the Coos Bay property, or the port's property, starts in the pictures are different. I did send Linnell different pictures, and there is a picture of the drain in there. Their property starts basically, there's a telephone pole where my pictures end. And so that part does not belong to the Port of Coos Bay. I don't necessarily, that'll be for you guys to work out who's responsible for what. To me, it's a county road. It serves our county. It serves people that use Charleston. And again, if you want, I will tear it out tomorrow. You send me a couple trucks of gravel and we'll make it a whole lot better than it is. And we can get that water to drain properly. And then we can address the asphalt at a later time. But that might be a good emergency fix that could happen by Monday.
I think we'll have to talk with staff. But it does sound like a quick fix.
It literally will take me a day or two.
What's your perspective on that proposal to just strip the asphalt out of there, make it into purely a gravel road and more maintainable?
And to be clear, not the whole thing, just that really bad section near the drain and the entrance to England. So it's it'd probably be about 20 yards maybe by whatever the road width is.
I'd have to look at it again just to, I guess, be sure. But as a general rule, we don't like to get rid of asphalt once we've got asphalt because it's harder to get it back. You can patch areas, you can grind them out and put in proper subgrade and then patch them with new asphalt. That kind of road would require a deeper patch because there's so much commercial activity and heavy loads. But yeah, I mean, I'd be willing to go out there and look at it with them. And
I'd be happy.
Let's go out there. Yeah. Let's go out there together and look at it.
Yeah. I think that drain
can we set a date?
Definitely should be number one.
Time?
Get that thing functioning first.
Right.
They
Yeah.
can coordinate
to
with
Okay.
Paul and figure out a time to go do that.
Sounds good. We'll meet with you.
Yeah, I can meet with him right now.
Sounds good.
Yeah, let's talk about it after the meeting here, and I'll attend that with you.
Okay.
We'll
Great.
figure it out. Okay. Very good.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further comments from the public? I should clarify. Yes. Got to go to there. Sorry. And name and where you're from.
I'm Donna Augustine, also part of Qualman Oysters. And I know Darren did bring up a point about the public access being in the front of the road. We see so much traffic coming and going, but I really want to emphasize the public dock that the public uses often. There'll be people who, it's at the end there before you get to the harbor or the port or whatever. People come there to kayak, to crab, to fish constantly. People from all over Coos Bay, Charleston. And I think it's a great place for people to get exercise and to promote, outdoor activities. And so I think that's just an important part of your community that is, should be in consideration as well.
Yeah.
Well, I know Darren mentioned it, but I just wanted to.
That's why there's 4 of you. Between everybody, the memories are.
I think that dock is affiliated with the Port of Coos Bay. I can verify that.
If you're going out there.
Yeah, it's actually it is on port property. That dock is 100% on port property. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I think this is related.
Okay.
We live on the.
Oh,
end
I'm
of-
sorry. Name
Oh.
and where you're at.
Linda Smith, live on Fairview Road.
Okay.
We live up towards the end of Fairview Road where it's gravel. And we have similar problems up there. Right now, we have a place where it is sliding out. And if that road goes any further, there's quite a few people that aren't going to get home. There is another entrance above us, but it has lock gates on both ends by logging companies. The rock trucks that are going up there right now for the loggers is just unbelievable. I don't know how many a day because we can't see from our view, but there's a ton of trucks going up there and they're tearing up the road. And it was graveled recently. I'm not sure if the county did it or if the loggers did it, but I don't know. We just need people to know that we exist out there. Sometimes we think we're forgotten.
Do you know which company is doing the gravel?
I do not know the name of
Okay.
the company.
Do you have my email address? It's on the
I'll
county
take
website.
it.
If you were to happen to figure
Okay,
out what company it is,
I
I'll
know
talk to
people
them.
that know who it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just helpful for me, and maybe I can talk to somebody.
Okay.
I'd interject that in the past, we've realized some measures of success at the county by addressing those companies that are excessively using a road like Fairview Road up like that. So I think that Commissioner Farmer's question is well directed. So I was actually going to go down the same track. I'd like to drive up there and look at it myself and be able to address it directly. So
If you'd
appreciate
like
you
to-
bringing that up.
If you'd
Thank
like
you.
to tie that in with this, I've got no objection. Or I can handle
Oh.
this, whatever you like to do.
We've also.
Oh, I'm sorry, we got roads coming.
Hi. We were going to tackle you at the end of the meeting.
So, so we are aware of the slide area. It's about the 17.1 mile marker, but it's a spot we cannot fix until dry weather. In fact, I've got to coordinate with the adjoining property owner, which I think will be amenable to it, but we've got to build a rock buttress there to support the road so we can gain a little bit of width back that we've lost. But we are monitoring it regularly to make sure that
Okay.
if something does happen and we lose some more road, we might have to take some emergency measures, but I'd rather not do that until we have to because it'll be kind of work after not if we don't.
We have requested to have like 2 more cones there so it's better marked. If somebody's driving on that road and they are not familiar with it, I mean, mostly it's people that live up there.
There should be delineator posts with reflectors on top. Are they not there anymore?
We still
Okay.
have a ribbon up there.
Okay, I'll get those out there
We've
ASAP.
offered to put the cones there.
Yeah. Well, we'll get delineators out there because they're actually posts driven in the
Somebody
ground.
goes off there, they're going.
Yeah, it's a
they're
long
gonna
ways
die.
down.
It's gonna go down to the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't, car's just going to flip over.
It'll roll over for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's-
A word of caution.
Yes.
Paul, if you could just wait a second. I think this was a good demonstration of issue the county can run into with local access roads. I mean, how many local access roads do you think we have across the county?
We actually don't know. It's part of a project we're doing right now. We're starting with the county roads first that are actually maintained by the county, and then we're going to do local access roads after that. But I would venture to guess as many as a few hundred miles of local access roads.
Right.
We've got a bunch.
So historically, the county has taken a hands-off approach to local access roads, given that it's sort of a budgetary matter. The one issue we may run into if we start fixing up local access roads is you start seeing all sorts of requests for,
We get requests all the time. It's
so
regular.
So it could be a situation where we're setting a dangerous precedent where, we start to fix up one, it becomes hard to deny future requests for that type of fix. So just pointing that out.
Point stipulated. Obviously, we can't afford to start going and maintaining all the local access roads. That's just a non-starter. However, as an elected representative of the people at the county, I feel a responsibility to play some kind of a role. I'm not saying a fiscal role necessarily. I don't know what exactly the definition of the role is, but some role in resolving these kinds of serious public issues. So, we've got many considerations to balance here.
If somebody goes off it because we didn't take steps, that's not going to feel very good.
Yeah, and I mean, just for clarification, Trawler Road and Fairview Road are different. Fairview Road is a county road.
No, yeah, that's
we do
good.
maintain.
That's right.
Okay. Further commentary? Seeing none, I believe we're at the close of the meeting. So, meeting adjourned. Okay.